Now introducing the Mayor of St. Cloud, Dave Kleiss.
Now introducing Mayor Dave Kleiss. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our mayor, Dave Kleiss.
Everybody, welcome. Welcome, everybody. I have your attention. I got a few things to say. All right, I appreciate that. Welcome. Welcome to City Hall. I'm Dave Kleiss, the mayor of the city of St. Cloud. I am so honored to be here today, and I am so honored to welcome all of you to the state of the city of St. Cloud. I have been in this is the third time I've been in this room. Of course, we moved in here 3 years ago to the old Tech High School, the new City Hall, the People's House. I love this building because it has so much history. And if you recall, when I had my first State of the City here, I actually advocated that anybody who wanted to buy a locker, so you can put your name on it, you could do that for $500. Since we've only sold 2 of them, today only, for $50, you can get your name on a locker. So you got to see Lisa here in the back, but you can get your name, memorialize yourself in this building for $50 today for that locker. Because, you know, it's part of the, by the way, the proceeds don't go to me. The proceeds go to historic preservation. Speaking of historic preservation, I want to introduce the council. Sorry, Mike and Jake. No, just kidding aside. It's going to be one of those days, though, council member. No, I appreciate the fact that we have our council president Gerger, Conway, Larson, Anderson, Masters. I know Hontos is here. All of our folks that have been, they're partners. They're partners in leadership in this community, and they do a wonderful job. It's service. Public service is often not recognized. They have a tough job. They take very tough votes, and they represent you all very well in the city. So thank you for what you do as members of the City Council. As I said, this is my 19th State of the City address. So in the first one I had was a month after I became mayor, so I gave it in the City Council chambers, the old City Council chambers. And then since then, I've partnered with the Rotary and the St. Cloud Area Chamber of Commerce. So I want to thank Mark, President of the Rotary, Julie are here. Julie Lenning is here, and I know Mark Ossendorf is here somewhere in the room, I hope. But that's been a great partnership. I've had all of the other ones, 18 of them, with that partnership, so I appreciate the partnership that we've had. But this is my 19th. You know, I've done 19 of these. And this will be the last. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know why this doesn't go here, but technology, there's a slide that follows this slide here that I don't know if I'm supposed to be pointing it at something else here. Technology issue here, and I have nothing to do with technology, but anyway, the next slide has a beautiful picture of all kinds of other things that we're doing as far as engagement in the community. We have, maybe I didn't turn it on, maybe that's it. It's probably a simple thing like, no, I don't think I've done that. Maybe it's a dead battery. I might need another one of these. Or I'll just need someone to push the button. I'll just say slide. I mean, that would be probably the better technology thing here. Jason, by the way, Jason, you know, Jason Van Der Eyck here, and this is, I was going to introduce you a little later, but you're here right now. This is the guy who does so much for the city. And quite frankly, this guy is one of the most courageous individuals I know. Jason, just less than a half a year ago, got it 5 months. Had a new heart, and he's here today. You know, that 5 months, you know, and that just, you know, the new heart, that's the thing. You got a lot of folks in this room that are city employees. They do what they do because they've got heart. Jason's got tremendous courage. What a family, what a faith, what a dedicated public servant in this community. Now this works, and also somebody who understands technology. I do not, but 19th State of the City. This is, I've had 100 dinners with strangers, 980 town hall meetings, 1,000 video messages and other messages, podcasts, 2,000 radio call-ins on both KNSI and WJN over that period of time, and all kinds of social media. I do everything except TikTok because I don't want the Chinese stealing my dance moves, so that's not going to happen. But I do everything else, and the fact is, if you're 18, I know there's a lot of young people in the audience here, you could have been to all of my town hall meetings your entire life if you went once a week. And just to give you an idea of, you know, if you actually went and listened to all the podcasts, you listened to all of the weekly updates, you listened to all of those radio interviews, and if you just did one a week, you'd be done in 60 years. So you wonder why this address takes an hour. There's a lot of things happening, but it's important. The reason I do this engagement is because you need to engage in the community. You need to talk to people. You need to have a conversation. You need to know who you represent. You can't do that just having a meeting and waiting for people to come to it. You need to engage. You need to build relationships. You have to have that connection, and that's important to do. It's something I learned a long time ago. Whenever I make a decision, I have to know people and how it affects. Years ago, Bob Dole, for those of you who are older, Bob Dole used to say, we always mention this guy named Dickie Flatt, because before he ever did anything in the legislature, he'd say, how does this affect Dickie Flatt? So I do the same thing. How does this affect the people that I know in this community? When I make a decision, how is this affecting whoever that individual is in the community, that decisions has an impact on people. So that's why you engage, that's why I do all of these meetings, and that's why it's important to have access and engagement. Also, as mayor, and those of you who are either have served in the military, or if you're in elected office, or if you're in an office where you have to swear an oath, it's important. I swear in a lot of folks into the city that are officers, whether they're in law enforcement or they're fire or they're officers of the city. And that oath that you take is to swear to the oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, Constitution of the state of Minnesota, and to faithfully execute and discharge the duties of whatever that position may be. It's the Constitution. It's the state constitution. And in St. Cloud, it's a charter. We operate under these principles of these. And they're basic principles. They're not amended very often. The U.S. Constitution's only been amended 27 times. There's been 11,000 attempts over that period of time, but it's only been amended 27 times. 4 times in my lifetime. The state constitution's been amended 121 times over the state's history. Our constitution or our charter that we operate is a little unique. We operate under a charter that several different charters early in our history, but in 1952 it really focused on a strong mayor system. And a strong mayor system is unique, and our charter's only been changed since 1952 49 times also. But it's a strong mayor system, and that's unique for those of you in political science. It's a political science term. I'm not by any means stronger than any other mayor, although I could maybe race some or wrestle some. But the other mayors that are strong mayor system, when this was created in St. Cloud, there are only 4 cities. When in 1952 there were only 3 cities that have a strong mayor system. Now Minneapolis just recently went to a strong mayor system, so now there are 4. And what that really means is it operates similar to the state. The governor, you have a legislate. The council serves as that legislative body. The executive role is in the mayor. There are only 4 in the state of Minnesota. And today in this room, 50% of the strong mayors are here. The mayor of Duluth is here, Roger Reinert. Mayor, thank you very much for being here. Mayor of Duluth, it's Duluth, St. Cloud, it's Minneapolis, and it's St. Paul. And I really appreciate the mayor being here today. The mayor and I have a lot of things in common. We both served in the legislature. You were in the House when I was in the state Senate. And then you went on to the state Senate, the upper body. For those of you, Representative Vogelmont, the upper body, you went into the Senate. You've been active. You're military. I'm Air Force. You're Navy. You're an officer. I'm an enlisted guy. You've had much more success. We both represent areas. You've got one of the most premier Great Lakes, Superior. We've got the Mississippi River here. You've come with that experience, and I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate what you do for Duluth. You've got a unique system, and congratulations. You just got elected. You get elected, no controversy going on. By the way, I'll have a box of Cheerios to give you at some point here before you leave. You can have that. But yeah, for those of you who don't know what that is, Google it. You'll figure it out. But thank you, Mayor, for being here today. But the strong mayor system has a charter, and again, it's a responsibility that the mayor has is different than mayors in other parts of the city, or other parts of the state. We only have 4, so it's a different thing. One of the most important responsibility I have is to present a budget. The charter gives the responsibility to the mayor to present a budget to the city and to the council. That budget process take very seriously. I have presented this fall. I will be presenting my 20th budget that I've had the privilege and honor to be able to bring to the citizens of St. Cloud and to the City Council. Now, it's important to know that the budget process that we have, it's not always just looking at what we spend and the revenue that we collect. It's also looking at trends and looking at how we can, if there's something that's driving a cost driver that's driving costs up, we need to address those cost drivers. Otherwise, we're going to have a budget that's not sustainable going in the future. Last year is probably the best example. Last year was the worst winter in city history. It started really early. It snowed, it rained, it froze, it thawed, and it went very late. So what do we do this year? We address that cost driver, And we only had winter for 1 week this year. You're welcome. You know, we identify problems and try to find solutions to them. But last year's budget, I mean, and this is the easy thing too with, you know, you look at a budget, you look at taxes, you look at spending, you look at, you know, the financial health. It's easy. The easy thing to do when you have challenges, and people might not think that, the easy thing is to raise taxes, just create more revenue. You know, we don't do that. We capture the growth. Our property tax is among the lowest in the state. If you look at the state average, the property tax for St. Cloud is lower than all of the rest of the state. We keep that because it's your money. That's the first thing it's important to me is it's not my money, it's the money we're entrusted, your dollars. Spending is also easy. You got a problem, throw some dollars at it. You know, no, that spending requires revenue at some point. So we also look at the spending piece. And if you take the budget, the first budget that I had to present, you know, 19 budgets ago, to the budget that we're living in right now, 2024, and if you adjust that for inflation, we're spending $5 million less in this budget than in the budget of 2006. So we are paying attention to spending, and we're still providing services. But that's important to understand because I'll get people say, well, you're spending all this money. You know, no, we're very cognizant of that because those are your dollars. And also what we're very cognizant of is the bond rating. You know, that's the external look at how we're doing. We can do things and just kick everything down the road and let somebody else deal with the financial issues. We don't, and the way that we're judged in that is a bond rating. We have to, every time we sell a bond, we have to go and you know, be evaluated. Our bond rating is a AA+. It's been raised over all of those 19 years twice. We have the highest bond rating of all the area cities in this area. There are very few cities that have a AA+. I know, Mayor, you'll have a AA+ soon because you got a AA. So, but there are very few cities that do. It's because we're cognizant of, again, the revenue and the spending, what we do. So the budget piece is a very important piece of that. And how do we determine what we spend money on? Well, we ask you. We survey. You know, not all cities do a survey. This is a survey we do at St. Cloud State University. It's developed so that we're asking questions that are not leading questions. We're asking questions that, you know, so, and we've done the same survey. We've done it every 2 years. We kind of took COVID off because everybody took COVID off for a period of time. But we started again, we did this survey, and these are the top 3 issues. And they're almost always the top 3: roads, public safety, and traffic congestion. But public safety used to always be the number 1. Roads became the number 1 because we surveyed everybody last year during pothole season. The worst pothole season you could possibly have, we surveyed folks. So, but we focused on that. We do the survey, so we prioritize. We prioritize what you believe we should be spending our money on. That's the question we ask. What do you think we should be doing in the next year? What should we be focusing on? Roads, public safety, traffic congestion. Roads, this is part of the survey. You know, we asked the question, road conditions, 50%. Not a good number. That's half the people like it, half of them don't. Although 80% of the people like the roads in their neighborhood. They just don't like driving to anybody else's neighborhood. But you look at that. So we put a record amount of dollars into roads and repairs. In fact, not only that, potholes last year, you know, we filled 6,208 tons of asphalt last year to fill potholes. 6,208 tons. That is the most ever in the city's history in a single year. And it's eclipsed significantly over the years. You'd have to go back 10 years. That's in filling potholes, but we also did road construction. And what happens when you do road construction? You get traffic congestion. That's why that's so low. So we can't win. You're going to fix the roads, but you're going to get some congestion. But we focus on that priority because that's the priority that you have addressed to what you want to see. Public safety, this is one of the top priorities. This is, I believe, the responsibility of a city. This is where you should always be focusing in on public safety. And we do that. It is a top priority. It is, we have, you know, tremendously dedicated, and this is tough. Public safety is tough. This is especially in This is one of those presidential years. It's one of the statewide elections, so you're going to see all these commercials telling you how terrible everything is and how terrible crime is, and miraculously on November 8th it all gets better. But you hear all that, and it's nationalized, and then everything's are local. Public safety is a local issue. I don't care if somebody tells you at the federal level, the state level, they're going to solve something. It's a local issue. These are folks that are serving your communities. This is our local cops, our local firefighters, our local attorneys, our local inspections folks. This is what they focus, and we hire the best to do. This is a tough job to do it. But you'll hear all of these things, and and again, it's always hard to determine what to believe. You see all kinds of things on social media, but I'm going to give you facts. This is our stats, and you go to our city's website. This is the FBI, BCA does this. It's updated every month. This is St. Cloud. A change over the last year. Part 1 crimes. These are the crimes that are person crimes. These are the ones that you should be afraid of and worry about. Down 21%. Property crimes down 15%. Robbery down 51%. Traffic stops up 18%. And that's a good thing, because we have more opportunity to, people always say, why are these people running these red lights? How come you aren't stopping them? Well, if you're focusing on everything else, it's hard to do that. So when you see that number going up, it means that you're focusing, and those other pieces are less of a challenge, but we still have a challenge. Things, shoplifting, retail, we're a retail center. Those numbers are up. Issues dealing with behavioral mental health issues, overdose. Those are numbers that are going up, and that's nationally, and that's a challenge, and those are beyond what we do. But we look at what's causing that, and that's why we're part of the CAPS program, where we embed mental health professionals and folks in social services. We look at other professionals to help and collaborate with to address those other root causes. But public safety is and always will be a priority for us, and we've got the best of the best. It's a tough job. Being a cop is a dangerous profession to be in. It's not made easier by decisions made in cities and in states all over the country. That it's made even more difficult. And we don't make it easier because we don't lower our standards. We have the highest standards. I'm asked this question often: what's the morale of our department? Well, the morale is high because they know we support them. We give them the resources they need. I will always have the men and women's back who have our backs in our communities, and that's an important thing. We have high standards. They're the best of the best. They have, in my opinion, the best clearance rate. They're top-notch folks. And there are other folks that are part of that team in public safety, our firefighters. I think we're all reminded of the danger, especially in light of the most recent tragic situation in Burnsville. Our firefighters go to fires, natural disasters, medical calls, dangerous rescues. But they have, beyond that, there are so many dangers that they face also. They face those dangers to protect you and I. They risk their lives, put their lives on the line to do that for us as a community. These highly trained professionals do the best, and they respond. But, it's been a while, and they need a little help in that response. They need another fire station. We need another fire station. It's been more than 15 years since we've asked you, the voters, to build a couple of fire stations back then. We're going to ask you again this fall. It's necessary to be able to address a 911 call and to be there on time, not only to save your life, your friends, your family's lives, the property, but also the quicker they can get there, the less you pay in insurance. Response time is important. So we're looking at an additional one on the south side. Will be on the ballot this fall. But it's not just the building, it's the equipment, it's the men and women who are serving in that department. They answer the call, and they need your help. And speaking of that help, I've got somebody in here. You see the picture up here? I took the ones on the right, the one that didn't have the flame in it. But this was on the 20th of February, about 3:30 in the afternoon. Antoinette Lee, who's in the audience here, happened to be driving behind a gentleman by the name of Patrick Johnson. Patrick Johnson had a medical emergency and drove off the road, hit this house, corner 17th and Division. Antoinette Lee was driving behind, stopped, got out of her car with her kids, checked, seen that the driver was unresponsive, and she pulled him from the vehicle. Moments before that, car. Antoinette Lee, who's right here. Antoinette, stand up, please. Antoinette Lee absolutely saved his life. Our folks then responded, and I came around and took those pictures on the other end. Thank you, Antoinette. I know you're CEO of Arts in Action, but if you want to be a No limit painting. That's no limit painting. See, but if you want to be a firefighter, take the chief. Chief, get her number. No limit painting. Antoinette, thank you. You're a blessing. You know, firefighting, 911, it's regional. I mean, it's like having someone from the public help our folks that are doing this. But we also need to look at this as a region. Does it really matter to you when you dial 911 what the patch is on the person's sleeve, what the sign is on their door? No, you're calling for help, and you want help. We collaborate. We collaborate with the area cities. We're unique. We have 3 counties. We've got 6 cities around. We collaborate in so many ways. Our wastewater facility, our transportation through the APO, Metrobus, you know, is a joint effort. Our public safety, whether it's VOTIV, the Violent Offender Task Force, or whether it's mutual aid. We do a tremendous amount of collaboration. Our airport is a great example of that. The airport now is no longer part of the city. It's a regional airport. We do a lot of this, and we do it in the area of public safety. But, you know, like everything, we can always do things better. And collaboration is important. I think public safety, in fact, in fire, we're working now collaborating with Waite Park to help Waite Park in neighboring city. I'm going to be holding a gathering with Kurt Hunstinger, Mayor of Sauk Rapids. Kurt and I are friends, and we're just bringing people together. It's not a top-down approach. Going to be at the fire station at the airport, another symbol of collaboration, coming up on May 2nd. It's the day after May Day. May Day is a distress call, so May 1st, it's the next day. Calm down the next day, and we're going to come together. But we want you to be there. I'm not asking a bunch of elected officials and, you know, chief. I'll have fire chief there because this is his building. But I want the public to say, you know, what do you want to see in the area of collaboration when it comes to public safety? It's got to be a bottom-up approach for it to really work, because all of the mayors in all those cities, all of the council members in all those cities, they work for the different residents than we do in St. Cloud. So it's important to collaborate and do that collaboration. Services. This is part of the survey. Now the survey, this alone, I mean, if you're a business, and somebody said your business is 92%. I mean, this is the city. We're asking people what they think of overall services. In almost all these categories, they're the high 90s or upper 80s. This is for our services. And we've got great service because we got great people. People that work for the city, boards and commissions. These are all the boards and commissions. You see all the faces on there. They're small, I know. It's hard to get everybody. But we have 21 boards and commissions, 121 people who are volunteering. I have had the honor over this many years to appoint every single person on those boards and commissions, and they reflect the community. And the importance of boards and commissions is because their voice counts. It's important to reflect the community in the decision-making process, and that's why we have this service. Service is important. So if, in fact, I had a 24-hour town hall meeting recently. A gentleman came there and he asked about transportation. He had a question. He said, how can I get this done? How can I create better access? I said, well, I'll put you on the transportation committee. So he's on there. He's the newest member serving there. He's willing to step up and serve, and that's important. All these people are volunteers. They don't work for pay. They work for the community they serve. And service is important. Engagement is important to do. Also, hiring. Hiring is important. It's another responsibility I have as mayor, is I hire, in fact, in the charter, I hire everybody. I can delegate that at levels, but it's the mayor's responsibility to hire everybody. And that's you don't realize how important hiring the right people is. But let me give you a little illustration. What if, and then this might be a little tougher, those of you who are familiar, maybe a little older in the room, know Gunsmoke. What if Dodge City hired the wrong sheriff? Gilligan or Matt Dillon? Now, I know those of you who are baby boomers, maybe some Gen X understand that, we're talking about law and order. I know there's some people in the back, you don't know who Gunsmoke is. I happen to be a big Gunsmoke fan. So for the rest of you, I can ask the same question about law and order. What if New York SVU picked the wrong person? If they didn't, Olivia Benson or George Santos. It's who you hire has a consequence. In this case, also who you elect. But you've got to hire people, and we do. We hire people that are skilled at what they do. They're the best of the best. And I know there's a number of folks, there's a lot of them up here, see, they even give up the good seats so they can sit in the back or on the side. If you work for the city, or if you're on a board or commission, your service, thank you for your service. It's Martin Luther King that said, everybody can be great because everybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree. All you have to have is a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. These folks do it. Stand up if you're part of a board or commission, or if you're part of the city. Thank you for that service. I have, like I mentioned, I've hired a lot of these folks, and I'm reminded of this, and I know we got a lot of folks that are in high school, seniors, and I'm going to be recognizing some other folks. But I thought of my leadership team, especially for those of you folks that are young in here. When you're looking at where you're going to be in the future. This is my leadership team when they were in high school. This is my graduation pictures. I'm up there too. I'm the only one with facial hair. I've never got the trends right. I had facial hair when it wasn't in, and I had that mustache, I think, since I was 4. And then I got rid of it when I became mayor. But these are the high school photos of folks that work for the city. And it's interesting because when I first became mayor, some of these folks were still in high school. But some of these folks, I was the oldest person in the room. Now I'm the oldest, I was the youngest person in the room. And now I'm the oldest. I've hired or promoted each one of these individuals here. And we couldn't find Emmanuel's in my office. We couldn't find his graduation picture, which makes me wonder how he got a PhD without a high school diploma. But Emmanuel now, Dr. Opung, by the way, PhD. I've had 2 PhDs since I've been mayor. One, Mike Williams, who went on to, Dr. Williams is now the county administrator, and now Emmanuel. So, but these are the leaders in our community. These are folks that are making those decisions in our community, and we've got some great young people. In fact, we got 2 young people in this room that are amazing leaders. And I started this award a few years ago, the Youth Building Award. Winnie, Gerald Agu, and Danielle Rogers. Winnie, Tech, right? Tech High School. Amazing. She is a volunteer. She's got an unbelievable academic record. She is on student government. She is National Honor Society, Vice President of the National Honor Society. The mock trial, she helped start the mock trial. She's got a 4.0 4.04 GPA, and she's in AP World History, AP Psychology, AP Physics, AP Literature, AP Government. You know, I don't even know what AP means, but she's in all of those things. I mean, she is just, I mean, the things that she's doing. Winnie, you are, congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Danielle Rogers. Danielle also, I mean, she's student government, president, National Honor Society, vice president, mock trial captain, Rotaract. She's the chair of the Community Service Committee. She started working with Tri-County Humane Society when you were 10 years old. And she's also been, you know, instrumental in Big Brothers, Big Sisters. In fact, you had two littles, and you got the National Honor Society people to actually get them to be Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Amazing academic. You were part of the, you know, she wants to be a diplomacy. I can't even this. Foreign service, a diplomacy foreign service officer. She speaks Chinese. She was in the Chinese immersion program. She's still volunteering. I mean, between the two of you, I'm real comfortable with the future. Congratulations, and thank you for what you're doing. You know, these are young folks that are leading right now, and then we've got the future leaders, and hopefully. You know, he's sleeping, one of them over there, I see, but future mayors. The guy in the middle is the current mayor, just so you know. That was a year before I grew my mustache, so, and that's thanks to AI. I mean, that's my shirt, and that's the rest, but you know, the rest is probably, you know, that is me. No cap for those people in the back. I just have to use some. But the two on the side there is Ivy and Nathaniel. They're going to be future mayors. They're future leaders. I mean, it's too bad that Nathaniel's sleeping through all of this, but you can show him the tape, Ryan, later on. But Nathaniel, you know, these are going to be the future mayors. I can see 20 years from now. In fact, I could even write their campaign brochures for them. Nathaniel Daniel, there's nothing he can't handle. You know, the city will be in bad shape in 20 years. Vote for Ivy. The city needs IV stat. You know, these are the two folks that are going to be our future lover. We got some great people, and they got great parents. I know that all the way through. So our future mayors right here. Now, if you think about the future is really based on all the folks that have done so much in the community already. And in 2020, I started an award called the Legacy Award, and these are people who really have just built the community. They put so much into this community. They've volunteered. They put their time into the community. You know, a lot of folks, you know, you see buildings that are named after people that may have, may have given treasure, and that's fine. But the people who really have put their time into it, and they're kind of a lot of times behind the scenes, we credit this Legacy Award. And these are people who I'd like to have it. You know, when I think of it, think right now of somebody who's made a difference in your life or in the community. Think of that person right now. That's somebody that's been around, they're retired, they're older. I see a lot of smiles on the face, because when I think of a Legacy Award winner, it brings a smile to me. These people bring a smile to me. These are the Legacy Award winners that have been part of this. You know, and there's something there. They have also been personal mentors to me, and I know there's a lot of people in here that they've also been mentors to also. Some of those folks are here in the room. I see Hetty, I see Sandy. I don't know who else is in the room, but thank you for the legacies that you have created in this area, and thank you for being what you have done. You know, it's like we started this award, and I wanted to give it to people who are still that have been doing something, that are retired or no, close to retirement, but are still with us. Because when somebody leaves, it's like, I don't know who said it, it's like a library burned down. You lose so much of that. And so these are libraries, and these are folks that mean so much to the community. This year's winner is Deborah Lee. Deborah Lee couldn't be here today. I know somebody told her, so the surprise is off. She texted me. I know. But Deborah is just an amazing champion in so many ways. As a former faculty member of St. Cloud State University and administrator at St. Cloud Technical Community College now, somebody who has started up the CARE community anti-racism education, somebody who has been a co-chair and a founder of Create Community. She was the chair of the Community Foundation Board recently. She has been at everything. She does more stuff that she doesn't get paid for than her. I mean, that's the service. This is somebody that is just, and she's retiring, but she is such a true friend and a mentor to all of us. When you see her, she would be here if she could, but she is certainly deserving of a legacy award. There's a lot of Deborah Lees out there, a lot of folks that they're doing so much in this community. We are so blessed to have people that are doing things. It's really hard because I show a lot of pictures here, and there's people I could, when it comes to economic development, I could say Julie, Ty, Kathy, you got higher education, President Wacker I know is here, President Close, and Superintendent Putnam. Education, when it comes to, there are people in the room I can see that are doing things, and this is always my favorite part, but the challenge, because I could just mention everybody in this room. You all do so much for this community, and you serve this community, and it's these folks. But we also have, I always like to highlight, because we got some young folks here that are champions that, when you get those, especially those champions that put you out on the state scene. This year I picked, we got 3 state champions, and they're all from Cathedral. Now, there's got to be something in the water. In fact, I know there's something in the water. We have a water treatment facility just down the road from Cathedral. That really, you've got champions. You've got the jazz dance team, you've got the girls cross country, and you got the boys hockey team in the back. These are folks that really, stand up. These are they're in the back, but thank you. Congratulations. And their coaches. There's something about, and I was just reading this this morning on Facebook, and Emmett, you probably put this out there. 95% of the folks at Cathedral participate in an extracurricular activity, and that's the champions you get. 95% or more of you participate in your community, and that's why the champions you get in this community, and that's an important thing. It's participation. It's Ben Franklin said, tell me something and I'll forget, teach me and I may remember, involve me and I'll learn. It's that involvement, and that's community, and there's champions in our community. We have a number of neighborhood folks. This is part of the survey too. Neighborhoods, we asked what people like about their neighborhoods. Quiet always comes up top. What they don't like, don't know is what that's a good answer, because if people don't know what they don't like about their neighborhood is a good sign, But one of the things we found in this survey is that people aren't really engaged in their neighborhood. They haven't, 82% haven't been to a meeting, haven't been to 67% haven't been to a neighborhood activity. And, a little over half know about them, but 90% still love their neighborhood, which is good. And I know there are some folks in here, I could know for sure that, talking to the Ox, the fact that he doesn't have to go to a meeting is why he loves his neighborhood. But we need to get people involved in their neighborhoods. We need to get people engaged, because that helps in public safety. It helps with the growth of a community. So we're going to start the next round of Healthy Neighborhood Partnership Program. The Healthy Neighborhood Partnership Program, we've done this before. The last time we did it with core neighborhoods. Now we're going to do all neighborhoods. This is through the Initiative Foundation. Brian Vording, Brian's here, is going to be helping partner with that. The Initiative Foundation helped us every step of the way. We're going to do this with all neighborhoods. We're going to launch that this summer, so stay tuned for more of that information. Downtown's a neighborhood. We got a lot of momentum going downtown. Downtown is really, when you were coming in here, did any of you listen to the music that was coming in? Did you hear that song, Petula Clark, Downtown? Now, the people in the back don't know who Petula Clark is, but the rest of you, it should have been sticking in your head, the whole thing, downtown, you know what I'm talking about. Well, millennials don't know that song, but they know where they want to live. Do you know that over 70% of millennials, that's the largest group of the workforce right now, want to live in urban walkable communities? Urban walkable communities. How much of central Minnesota is urban walkable? Less than 1%. So if the market tells you that the people in the workforce want to live in an urban walkable community, you better create an urban walkable community, or you're not going to have the workers that we need in our community to serve all of the employers and the jobs that are necessary in our community. That's an important piece. And if you look at the baby boomers, people that are downsizing and wanting to leave the workforce, over 60% of folks like that too want to live in urban walkable areas. So we need to add housing. Last year I mentioned that we should be adding 1,000, that's the goal, to add 1,000 new housing units downtown. We got a lot of momentum going downtown. I had a summit about 15 months ago. I led to a task force. Greg Winfield is the chair of that task force. There's a lot of folks in this room that are part of that task force. That task force has been moving, and there's momentum going. In fact, if you look at the businesses that have started downtown, in the last year, since that summit, we have had over 27 new businesses downtown, either created or expanded downtown. And yesterday I just cut a ribbon on Tequila Town. And I don't know if they're here tonight. I told them to come over, but they're running a restaurant. So, you know, they are in the back. Well, hey, go to Tequila. They're in the back. Welcome to downtown, and welcome here. Great food. I was there for lunch. I didn't have a margarita, but it's there's a lot of momentum downtown, and that's what we're moving, that momentum. In fact, there's 100 million reasons that we're moving that. That's $100 million that we're trying to, and I see Dan Wolgermont here, Bernie Perryman, also representative. Thank you for what you're doing. Eric Putnam, they're carrying the legislation for us. Thanks for being here, not being at the legislature today. Appreciate that. Or you should thank me. But we're working on the connectivity, and that's the important piece of it. We're working with St. Cloud State University. Robin Wacker's been a champion. Ken Holman with CentraCare. It's those bookends. We need to connect physically those areas in the downtown area. That's an important piece of it, that connectivity, so we can focus on getting people to live there and attracting people there. Focus on those connections. You know that bridge that goes underneath the Vision that used to flood all the time, and then we fixed it, and now it still floods all the time? We didn't. It was MnDOT bridge anyway. But that used to be Lake Bottom. So this year we're going to try to commission and get this. That's part of that connectivity. It will draw you into Lake George if you could actually, similar to what we do at the river's edge, you see the river, and then you've got the bottom floor, you have what's underneath the river. This would be great to see what's underneath in the lake, the wildlife, the nature, and then the top, and a little bit of a history to it. We're going to commission that this year. Art's important. We need to have arts. We've got some great art. We've got a children's museum that's going to open up later this year. We've got a lot of, we've got a lot of cool stuff happening downtown. We got the Paramount. Hopefully, we're going to have a space shuttle. You might have heard of that. I wasn't supposed to announce that. The governor said something, so you don't know. Felicity John Peterson, I don't know if Felicity John's here in the back, owns a space shuttle. How many people do you know own a space shuttle? Well, Felicity John Peterson owns one. He's going to bring it to St. Cloud, and he's working on that to get it downtown. Wouldn't that be great to be by the Children's Museum? I mean, what an attraction. You bring people downtown. People want to live downtown. You create something that is really that vibe that you need downtown. Art's a big part of that. You want to get people that live downtown so that they can live downtown. Housing is really important. Not only 1,000 units of housing. We need housing at all levels. We need attainable housing. We need to have attainable housing so that anyone, no matter where you're at in the spectrum of needing housing, everyone should be able to attain housing. And that's at every level. And I'm talking to the folks that are right now having a challenge, those that are experiencing homelessness. We need to get those folks into permanent housing. There are challenges that folks have. These are our neighbors. We have our neighbors at every level need to get housing, permanent housing. There should be no such thing ever as a permanent shelter. It's getting people into permanent housing. And you do that through the expertise, and you get the right people to do that. The city's not going to do this. The city doesn't build any housing. but we can create an ability for housing to be built and for experts to get people into housing. Zoning is one of the main things we can do. AEI, the American Enterprise Institute, Toby Peter, I mentioned him before. He's a tech graduate, works for a think tank in about actually trying to upzone light touch density, or it's called, I think for a lot of people, it's called middle housing. I can't get that out of my head because I'm thinking of the hobbits in Middle Earth. But that's probably right because it's small housing. But it's creating the ability. We brought this to the council, the planning commission. We need to stand out of the way and let the private sector, really, the market forces do this. But we need housing at every level. Employers need housing. We need to do that, and we're focusing on that. We also need to keep people in their housing, which means we don't need to increase their utility bills. We're doing that through the issues of sustainability. And this is the area that we really excel in. We have set some pretty lofty goals. I've set that each of the state of the city address a goal in it, and I think I've said this before. It is my job to set unattainable goals. And it is the staff's job to make sure they are done ahead of time. And they do a great job. Tracy Odell and her team with the water, we're talking, I got to make sure I get the right name. It's the nutrient recovery plant. It was the sewage plant when I was growing up, or it's the nutrient recovery. In fact, it's new. It's the nutrient, energy, and water recovery. And they're doing amazing things. If you just take solar itself, just solar. Now you can go all the way back to hydro. We've had hydro for a long time. We produce more hydro energy than we use, way more than we use. But solar alone, if you look at the cost of a kilowatt, and you take what we have in just our solar gardens right now, and the solar that we use on top of our roofs, 26 years from now, it will be 3 cents a kilowatt hour. You know what the average right now? Right now, the average home uses about 15 cents a kilowatt. 26 years, it'll be 3 cents based on what we're doing just in solar alone. If you take an accelerator for that 15 cents and you take it out just 20 years, with the average accelerator is about 3%, it'll be 26 cents a kilowatt in 20 years. We'll still be paying, or we or you will be here, it's 26 years from now, whoever's here, will be paying 3 cents just in solar alone. But we don't stop with just there. We've worked on other parts of sustainability. Waste to energy. Poop to power is what that is. And basically what you flush, we create energy out of. This is something that we're doing now. We're the first in the state. We're the first in the nation. We're going to be the first in the world to produce hydrogen gas. You take water. You get an electrolyzer, which they make in Minnesota. We got a grant to do this. We're working on it. We'll be the first municipal nutrient recovery plant in the world to producing hydrogen. Now, there's a lot of emphasis on electric, and there's nothing but we do live in a cold weather state, and there's still natural resources that take you to create batteries and those types of things. Hydrogen, there's not. We can't be dependent on what happens, what happens in the world, or the national, or at the state level. We need to produce our own, and that's one of the things and the reasons we're focusing on this, on the issue of sustainability. It's the natural resources that we're protecting, the environment, the river, the most important river in the world, in my opinion. But it's also your resources that you keep in your wallet, your dollars. We need to be good stewards of that, and that's what we're doing. We're identifying a problem well in advance and finding a solution to it, and that is in the area of sustainability. Hydrogen, nutrient. We're first in so many of these areas. Even when the water that you drink, how we treat that is unique. But we're starting every year. There's going to be a new goal. So we're starting something. And it's not just we don't just talk about it. This years ago, somebody said, yeah, we should give $50,000 to sustainability, and we get together and have coffee and talk about it. No, we aren't going to just get together and have talk. We're going to do things, and our folks do. We're not just going to talk. We're going to do. And this is something that we've already done. And now this year, starting today, we're going to take oil. So your used cooking oil, and you can drop it off here at City Hall during business hours, or at the public services, or at the compost site. You don't need a compost permit to do that, or at the nutrient recovery facility. You can do that. We will take that and make energy out of it. There's no other place in Minnesota that does this. This is the first here also. And next year, we'll take your food waste, and you'll be able to drop it at those places also and we will make energy out of it. We're already doing that with industry. We do that with Cobrans. We do that with some other businesses. We're making energy out of that. If I would have known this when I was a kid and my mom told me to clean my plate, I could have just said, I'm just making energy, Mom. I can't eat this stuff. You know, we're going to take that and make energy out of it. We're leading the way on these issues, and we're doing that to reduce your costs, to protect the environment. It's sustainable. It's important that we do that. Parks. Oh, by the way, when I get to parks, I'm going to go to a list. When I talk about downtown, we just got listed on the top 100 places to have a career switch in the country. The top 100. Only one Minnesota city's in the top 25, the top 50, the top 75. There's another Minnesota city that's in the top 100. Mankato's 93. St. Cloud's 24. St. Cloud's 24. I got to say that again. St. Cloud's 24 and 93 for Mankato. The best place, and you know what was one of the reasons it was cited? Was downtown. Downtown. So downtown's important. If you're making a career switch, again, if the market tells you 70% of the people want to live in an urban walkable area, you might want to look at that as a market that's driving that thing. Parks, we are in the top 10 parks, botanical gardens, in the country. Top 10 botanical gardens. Only one Minnesota city, St. Cloud, is number 8. No other cities are in that top 10. In fact, there's no other cities in the northern part, except, I suppose Ohio's as north as you can get, but it's part of their botanical gardens and zoo. Okay, we got some peacocks out there, so it's not quite the zoo, but we're working on that piece. But that is the testament to the folks that work on our parks. We've got over 100 parks. So once we get 100, we stop counting. So we have over 100 parks. I think I mentioned more. We've added some parks. Clark Field's our last park that we got from the district, which we appreciate. Celebrate community. This is the opportunity now we have to come together and celebrate all of the, again, there's just amazing people doing so many cool things in this community that we need to celebrate that. This is where, Granite City Days, Juneteenth, Summertime by George. These folks in the room that put these events together. First one's a city one. Juneteenth's been celebrated for before it was a state or a national holiday in St. Cloud. Thanks Buddy King and a lot of other folks with the African American Male Forum who've put that on every year. Rotary's been doing, are we in the 12th year for Rotary? 13th year? No, Rotarians are so shy, they just don't speak up. But, Summertime by George is a huge thing. Granite City Days, there are a lot of folks that are doing things in this community. There are folks that are serving and doing things. Again, as I look around here, I could see, some of the things that oftentimes we ask cities to do, or it's the state or federal government. There's a lot of folks that do those things that are in this area. Claire Richards, I know, is doing things with Granite Table. This is a great concept where you're looking at central Minnesota dealing with some of those challenges and issues that we have in a community. I know we got a number of county commissioners here, and if I go, I'm gonna miss some if I don't. But I know Sherburne County and Stearns County is represented here. We got public servants who really, Gary, Terrell. I don't know who else is in the room, but thanks you for what you do. It's the collaboration, it's the partnership, and these types of things that we have. So let's celebrate that. Celebrate the events that we have. There's a lot more events than the 3 that are on here. But before you celebrate, what do you do at your house before you have company over? Always. You clean. So clean up. You clean. So I'm going to do this challenge. I do this for the Ox and John Bodette. John Bodette's the only one that ever mowed my lawn, actually followed through on it. So Rotarian and then Jay Caldwell. Ox went and picked up some garbage. That's just the garbage I threw on your yard. But no, I'm going to challenge all of you because we've got these bags here. If you've got a group or an organization or a bunch of folks that want to pick up some garbage, I will join you and pick up that garbage. But don't send me a whole bunch of pictures of garbage. I'll just join you and we'll do this because we need to, this is a community we're proud of. We're proud of this community. We're going to celebrate this community. You know, I love this quote. You give but little when you give your possessions, but it's when you give yourself that you truly give. You know, there's so many people that give every day in this community. In fact, I'm gonna ask you if you, and this is the thing that's important too, if you've been in St. Cloud less than 6 months, please just stand up and stay standing. Less than 6 months. Nobody wants you to be identified to being new because they're going to be paying property tax soon. Okay, if you've been here less than a year, stand up. In St. Cloud, central Minnesota, you could even say. Less than a year. Less than 10 years. Less than 10 years. Less than a quarter of a century. How many of you have been here your whole life? Now, somehow the math there in Cathedral is not right. You should be standing up back there. I mean, I'm talking about central Minnesota here. Everybody should be standing up. You've been here all this time. In fact, everybody stand up. Because this is the part of because you've all been here in this area. Now pay attention to this. If you haven't contributed in some way to your community, please sit down. Wow. You know, the state of the city is the sum of all of you. And you, my friends, are amazing. Thank you.